Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be doing an unboxing video of Aglaonema from overseas. These were received from Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. As always, please make sure you are pressing the like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as following artgarden.flowers on Instagram. That is my friend Riki's nursery out in Indonesia, and I am super excited to do an unboxing plant haul for you today. It's been a while since I've shown you some of the new Aglaonema that I received from overseas. Very, very thankful to have Riki as my friend. I met him more than a year ago at PlantCon, and he makes it easy for us to receive plants from overseas because he has a nursery that goes through a broker, so you don't really have to worry about all the other things in terms of just importing plants. So I am just really excited that these were packed well, and I received some beautiful Aglaonema today. Let's see what kind of plants we have available. As I unbox this, it was actually a pleasant surprise because I thought I was going to actually pick up these Aglaonema from Riki at PlantCon Houston 2025, but then I got a UPS notification that a package came in, and I saw this big package. And so this is the first Aglaonema right here. So you'll notice whenever you are actually getting plants from overseas, number one thing you have to make sure is that there is no soil. So you already know that Art Garden Flowers is a very trusted nursery that follows all of the USDA protocol in terms of getting plants from overseas. So you can see that it's packed well, that they've gone through the phytosanitary certificates, and you can see that it is packed in sphagnum moss. So just FYI, for those that are ever going to receive plants from overseas, a couple of tips that I want to go ahead and put out there is, number one, if you're going to be importing plants or getting plants yourself, make sure that you have a viable import license. Otherwise, if you find a broker or somebody that actually imports the plants for you through their import license, then that's another way to do so. So I went the other route where I went through a nursery, through a broker, and so it just made it easy. So what happens is these plants actually get shipped into Florida, and then from Florida, they get shipped to your house directly. So if you're ever interested in getting overseas plants that are very easy to get in terms of just the whole process, I would go through artgarden.flowers on Instagram. They've been doing this for quite a while and have a very good trusted reputation. Highly recommend going through Riki of Art Garden Flowers. So you can see right here, this one is an Aglaonema White Legacy, and you can see that there's just slight damage on the leaves. So what I'm going to do is actually remove the dead leaves. But what is really important whenever you're doing plants or getting plants from overseas is just really looking at the root system. So you can see that the roots are a viable root system, and so that one is going to definitely do well for me. Now, for those that ask, every time I've actually gotten plants from overseas, I tend to put them in semi-hydroponic substrates. I will not be doing it with this plant haul today. I will actually be potting them up eventually in soil substrate. I've been doing a lot of my soil substrate potting up because I just feel like Aglaonemas respond better in traditional soil mix versus a semi-hydroponic substrates like Lechuza Pond or Leca. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that in a later video using Classy Rabbit soil. But you can see this is the next one right here. This one is an Aglaonema Red Legacy. And you can see that this one right here has been very packed very well. What I really love about Art Garden Flowers is you'll always get plants that are packed with so much care. You can see that there is very minimal damage to these plants. And you have to think about just the whole process it takes for these plants to get to the United States. Number one, they travel thousands of miles. Number two, just the process of making sure that these plants are pest-free and follows all of the USDA regulations in terms of just how they get into the United States. They have to be pest-free. They have to be soil-free. The taxes have to be paid through. There's just a whole process that comes along with just getting plants from overseas. So I always recommend people to make sure you do your research first before you go get plants from overseas. Also, as far as plant sellers, you really need to vet out a very trusted plant seller because you never know what plant sellers you will get from overseas. I've heard of some people getting scammed. Thankfully, I have been able to meet Riki in person. I know his nursery. We interact with each other quite often. And so I really trusted the whole process. I've received plants from him before, and also I buy plants from him whenever he brings his wonderful plants from PlantCon. So you can see right here, this one has about 4 aglaonema that I could possibly separate. But what's really important for me, again, is just the root system. So I'm just going to go ahead and unbox the rest of these aglaonema. I will flash the aglaonema plant IDs. Just know that it did take a couple of weeks for these plants to arrive. Again, it's because they have to go through a very rigorous process in terms of just making sure they are following the USDA DA regulations. But for those that want to hashtag popularize aglaonema, these are aglaonema that you will definitely not see at a big box store. The only way you would get these are either from another nursery that's already been growing them in the United States, or to receive these plants from overseas. Here are the only cons about or negatives about possibly getting plants from overseas. Number one, not all of the plants are always going to make it through the acclimation period. So while these plants are actually coming to me in such impeccable, healthy condition, just know that there is an acclimation period for these plants, because you have to think they were uprooted from a soil substrate. They had to be cleaned. They had to actually have a process where they had to get rid of the pests. There is a drying process, so you'll notice that a lot of the roots are very much dehydrated. And so I'm going to show you the process of rehydrating the plants. Make sure that you watch at the very end of the video so you can see all of that. So if you're curious on collecting aglaonema or even other plants to receive from overseas, this is definitely the video for you. It's definitely different from my big box or plant shopping videos, but hopefully this will be a little bit more educational for any of our new viewers. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie and I do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. But today I am doing an exciting unboxing of some aglaonema I received from overseas, specifically Indonesia. So you can see right here, this one is aglaonema hot lady, and look at how beautiful and how healthy the roots are. There's only one yellowing leaf, which I am going to eventually pull off of the plant. And let's continue to unbox these aglaonema. I received quite a bit of aglaonema. Super excited. You already know that I am a huge aglaonema collector. And again, I am so thankful to Riki and his nursery, Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. Please follow his nursery. Please comment on the post. Let them know you are a plant foldy. And if you're ever interested in getting aglaonema, please send me a direct message on Instagram. I can connect you with Riki, or you can send them a direct message as well. So I've gotten so many aglaonema in the past. They're doing very well. And that's just one way on actually growing your plant collection. So let's just sit back and you'll just see me unbox the rest of these plants. Feel free to leave in the comment section again if you have any questions about the process of getting plants from overseas, the acclimation process, what to look for, and the timing. I will answer as many questions as much as possible. This one right here is an absolute stunner, though. This is an aglaonema frozen, and you'll notice that it's a pretty big size aglaonema. Again, Riki's team in Indonesia does an amazing job packing these plants. You'll notice that they are packed well, very minimal damage to the plants. They are packed in sphagnum moss. And what I've noticed even with the sphagnum moss is that they are not soaking wet, which could potentially rot the roots. So I'm just glad that the roots are just very much healthy, and that will just give these plants a higher success rate on acclimating to the collection of mine. I will be honest that sometimes the plants that you receive from overseas may not always make it. Like, they will show signs of new growth, but then will quickly decline in health. So I always like to be very transparent and say that not all the plants will always make it. The best thing you can do to actually increase the success rate of your plants from overseas is, number one, you need to make sure that you're vetting out a very good plant seller. Number two, you should already have gotten very healthy plants from the seller to begin with. And the ways you can see that is even based on some of the unboxing I've done today. You'll see that the roots are very much healthy. And what I mean by healthy roots is you can see that for an Aglaonema, the roots are thick, they're white, they're not mushy. And so that is a really good sign for that. Also, you want to make sure that the plant's leaves are in good condition. It's not always a make or break deal when it comes to that. Sometimes the leaves will have a couple of damage, but you don't want to have a plant that's literally on its verge of coming to plant heaven. So let's continue to unbox these plants, and you'll notice that Art Garden Flowers on Instagram, they pack their plants very well. They make it to where it's easy to unbox the plants. They do like a cylinder type packing, which I really love. So you can see that there is some super care placed into these plants. So you'll even notice this is an Aglaonema Sundrop. And while I've already gotten an Aglaonema Sundrop from Peta's Planters, my favorite plant shop in Dallas, you'll see that I ended up getting one of these again. And the reason being is I really like that neon color on this Aglaonema. And, as far as Aglaonema, you will get much better pricing from overseas. The only thing that makes it a little bit pricey is obviously the shipping cost, because you have to think about their phytosanitary things that you have to go through, as well as just the shipping and packing. So, be prepared to pay somewhat of an expensive shipping cost. But in terms of just getting the actual plants, these are plants that are priced way below the market price that you would pay for in the United States. So that is a plus whenever it comes to actually getting plants from overseas. And I know I've talked about Aglaonema as I did big box or plant shopping videos. You will not find these types of Aglaonemas typically in the United States. You would have to get them from overseas. And so again, highly recommend going through Riki of Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. Definitely check out their Instagram page. What they do is they're able to actually help sellers in Indonesia get these plants to the United States in the legal way, because we want to make sure that you are following those USDA regulations. But if you have an Indonesian seller, for instance, and these ones also were sourced out from another Indonesian seller, they are able to send it to Riki's nursery in Indonesia. So they're able to actually get the the process right in terms of making sure that these plants are pest free, that they follow all the phytosanitary regulations that are needed in order for these plants to enter the United States. So for me, I am just really happy again. I am so ecstatic that I am able to get these plants sourced. Another place that you can get plants without having to worry about a import license because they go through a broker is Greenspaces.ID. So, those are my two trusted sellers that I would get Aglaonema from. And you'll notice this is a beautiful Aglaonema dewy hues. And I love the shape of this Aglaonema. I've seen jumbo size versions of it. You can see that the roots are still viable as well. And then every single root are pretty much healthy. You can tell that they've been a little bit drier, and that's not a bad thing because you don't want roots that are soaking wet as well. That's why I will show you the steps in ways to acclimate and do what you would need to do whenever you get plants received from overseas. Now, as far as my PlantCon 2025 haul in Houston, Texas, I actually got some more Aglaonema ready to go, and it's going to go through Riki from Amani Jungle on Instagram. So she has some amazing Aglaonema as well, and I'm super excited to be getting those Aglaonema in about a month in Houston. So this one right here, you can see, is another Aglaonema. I used to have an Aglaonema Coconut Delight. It hasn't done well, and so I decided that I would go ahead and try this again. This is another beautiful Aglaonema. And as far as the care tips for Aglaonema, especially the ones that you receive from overseas, make sure you give them the maximum optimal conditions. And what that means is obviously putting them in a bright indirect light area, maybe an east-facing window, somewhere where it's going to get some gentle light. Definitely utilize plant nutrient solutions such as Super Thrive to really get them from being stressed. And you'll notice that this one right here doesn't have the most extensive root system, but with Aglaonemas, they're pretty resilient plants. So this one is definitely going to get potted up in like a 3-inch planter because you don't want to put Aglaonema in a really large planter. They actually prefer to be a little bit more root bound, but needless to say, still such a beautiful plant. I'm actually curious, plant foldies, what you think of this type of content. Do you find this value added? Would you actually get plants from overseas? Definitely let me know in the comment section. And again, I want to be somebody that can at least answer questions and let you know through my experience about the sellers. Again, if you have Instagram, please follow artgarden.flowers on Instagram. My friend Riki is amazing. And if you're going to actually make it out to Houston PlantCon, the latter part of May this year, you can actually talk to Riki if you have any questions. So there are many resources. What I would always say is whenever you're getting plants from overseas, definitely do your research. Definitely look at how many reviews this seller has. Definitely try to connect with other people who've actually purchased plants, because the last thing you need is to shell out all this money and then all of a sudden you either, number one, don't get the plants that you paid for, or number two, never receive the plants. And there are some horror stories with that. I would also say whatever money you invest in getting plants from overseas, be prepared for that money to possibly become a loss. And the only reason why I say that is not all of the plants may always come in perfect condition like this. I have been very fortunate that pretty much every single plant that I've received from overseas have been in a really good, healthy condition. There have been a couple of plants that didn't have the best condition, but if you have a trusted seller, a seller that is willing to work with you, I have actually gotten sent replacements in the past. So just more tidbits about that. But you can see right here, Aglaonema Moonlight. And this is another large leaf, rounder form Aglaonema. And you'll notice just the care. And I can't stress how much that is super important whenever you're getting plants from overseas. You want to make sure that the seller or whoever is sending you these plants are really taking the time to pack your plants. And I mean, here it is again. I'm telling you, Riki of Art Garden Flowers. If you are interested in, say, buying anthuriums, rare philodendron, variegated anthuriums, definitely connect with Art Garden Flowers because they have some amazing anthuriums. I mean, obviously I'm unboxing some Aglaonema because Indonesia is one of the leading countries that has all of these different types of hybrids. But if you want to buy plants from Riki, he has an extensive collection of anthuriums and variegated anthuriums for really cost-effective plant pricing. So I just wanted to put that out there, and let me just continue to just unbox these plants. Hopefully you find this relaxing. Hopefully you will watch the video till the very end, because you'll see my plant haul and just my final thoughts about my overseas package that I just received, to my surprise, because I really thought I was going to pick this up in Houston. So it was a very fast shipping process. You'll notice that this aglaonema is labeled aglaonema snow white, even though it does look like a super white. So it might essentially be the same aglaonema. What I'm doing though is you see that there is just a little bit of damage. What I like to do, especially with aglaonema, is if you have any yellowing leaves, if you have leaves that have some mold, definitely get rid of those off of the aglaonema because you don't want that to spread or cause any diseases for the plant. That's the one drawback with aglaonema that I have learned over the time I've actually grown these plants is they are susceptible to like mildew and just that type of fungus. And so if you see any of that, you want to make sure you get rid of that as quickly as possible and try not to contaminate the plant. But needless to say, it is still a healthy looking plant. So let's continue to just unbox these aglaonema. I mean, I just can't believe that I just got so many on a Thursday and I'm just so excited. Another good thing about it is that the weather in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, has been very cool, and that's a good thing because if I were to get these plants, say in the thick of summer when it's 100+ degree weather, these might actually end up frying. So you also have to time when you actually get these plants from overseas because climate and weather definitely impacts whether these plants will make it into your hands on as healthy as possible. And then this is another new aglaonema that I received. This is an aglaonema Dijavana, and you'll notice that this actually has another baby that I could possibly propagate. And for now, what I want to do with these aglaonema as I unbox them is it's very important to, number one, unbox them, inspect the roots, but also make sure that you are disinfecting and cleaning them. And I say this not because there are any plant pests, because clearly if these plants were not already treated for pests and cleaned up, then these plants would not be able to even make it into the United States. However, I still like to have an air of caution and just make sure that I protect the aglaonema leaves, their roots. So what I'm going to do is actually make a solution called the Foldy Mist, which is basically neem oil spray that I will spray on the roots, the stems, the bottoms of the leaves, and the tops of the leaves. So the foliage is actually protected. It's basically a solution where I'll take a conventional spray bottle and then fill it up with 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil spray, organic, that you can buy on Amazon, 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, fill it up with water, put a drop of Dawn dish liquid soap, shake, 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 and that will actually make sure the plant is coated with neem oil, which will actually prevent plant pests, like for instance, thrips, which can actually attack aglaonema, mealybugs, etc., etc. So I like to go ahead and just get those plants protected. And also whenever you use hydrogen peroxide as well as alcohol, rubbing alcohol diluted obviously in the water, that will also get rid of any potential fungus that could attack your aglaonema. So super important for me, and you'll see that in the next steps. But let me continue to unbox these plants. And this is the one aglaonema I can finally say that I received and is one of my wish list plants. The other one would be an aglaonema crown of Siam, but take a look at this. This is a Greg Hambali hybrid. This is an aglaonema golden hope, and this is quite expensive. Typically, especially if you're trying to buy one that's already in the United States, I got this for a really good price. It was definitely under $90, which is a great price for an aglaonema golden hope. This typically will sell for about $200 in the United States. But again, when you find a great seller and you're able to, connect with the seller and they're able to give you a really nice discount, I was just really lucky to be able to get the Indonesian local plant pricing. So clearly there is a huge difference with Indonesian market pricing as compared to the United States. For me, I already know that I may still be paying US prices, but I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, these sellers, these nurseries still have to make a profit, a living, and I'm just thankful that they are willing to work with me. But the aglaonema golden hope is one of the most beautiful aglaonema, and I'm actually getting 3 plants for the price of one, because if you notice on the side sides, there are 2 little baby pups that are populating. So I may just let that grow out and eventually propagate it. And who knows, I may end up selling it, or maybe even doing a plant giveaway for my super plant foldies that are actually part of the YouTube membership tier. And I did want to put that out there that I recently launched a YouTube membership tier called the Super Plant Foldies, where you will get exclusive content of some of my personal plants, personal blogs, anything that is just related to me outside of my big box or plant shopping videos. It is only $2.99 to join. I hope you guys would actually consider joining. If you are, definitely just click the link in the comment section of this video that I have pinned for you to join, unless you're watching this video on a computer where you will see the join button. But we've got quite a bit of people that have actually joined the actual YouTube membership. But you'll see right over here, this is the finished product in terms of me unboxing all the Aglaonema. You can tell that all of these Aglaonema are super healthy. And can you believe that these Aglaonema traveled thousands of miles? You know, it had to actually take a pit stop to Florida, and then from Florida it made it to North Dallas, and it was really a quick turnaround trip. So for me, I'm going to continue to buy plants from Ricky of Art Garden Flowers. And if you know of any Indonesian sellers that may need you to get a phytosanitary certificate or an import license, I would actually connect your seller with Ricky of Art Garden Flowers. Perhaps he may be able to help you import those plants, or at least get these plants. Now, this is the next step where, like I said again, I am just really spraying down all of the leaves and the roots and the stems with a neem oil spray that I created. You know, a lot of it has to do with just disinfecting and putting on a protective coating, knowing that I've actually put a rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide that will actually put a protective coat, because as I've learned, Aglaonema, yes, they are easy to care for plants, but these ones right here, the more colorful ones that you can get from overseas, these are a little bit more finicky. They're a little bit more susceptible to mildew and fungus. And so that can actually destroy your plants. It'll just melt the leaves. And so for me, while these plants are super healthy, super full, and are going to be rehydrating, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do that with all of my plants that I receive from overseas. I definitely spray that neem oil spray because I feel like that's going to give them a protective coating. It also makes the leaves shiny and just cleans it. So I will put on this neem oil spray and let it sit on the plants for a good 2 to 3 minutes to let it soak in. And then the roots will be really cleaned up with water. I want to make sure I rinse the roots because I don't want rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, and neem oil sitting in the nutrient water solution, which is what I'm going to place these plants at the end of the video. That's the thing about these import plants. There is a drying process. I don't know all of the details in terms of the actual preparation to send these plants overseas, but I know that there is a slight drying process that happens. And so for me, if you notice that these roots are not as thick and rubbery, they're a little bit more dehydrated. But with me using a nutrient solution, which is basically using silica solution, as well as Super Thrive, which is a B vitamin complex that's going to really de-stress the plant and just really acclimate it. I'm going to let the plants at least sit in that nutrient solution for a good 24, 48, 72 hours. I'm not 100% sure. I do plan to pot these up and again in a soil substrate called Classy Rabbit, because I feel like that soil is super fast draining. That's one thing that I would recommend for Aglaonema is definitely grow them in soil. You can grow them in leca, but again, it's a slight risk to move them into semi-hydroponic substrates. To me, you don't necessarily have to put them in semi-hydroponic substrates because Aglaonema are a lot more drought tolerant. They prefer to be more on the drier side, honestly. So for me, just getting something super fast draining like Classy Rabbit soil is going to be a perfect addition. But you'll see that I am now rinsing the roots thoroughly. You want to make sure that you're really watering the roots and cleaning the roots up. And then what I'll do next is once I rinse and clean the roots up, I'm going to go ahead and get some glass jars and then put these aglaonema in a nutrient solution. Again, I'll mix it up to where it's just a gallon of water. I'll use a tablespoon of Silica Protect solution, which you can actually buy on Amazon. It helps really thicken the cells of the plant and really gives it a lot more vigor, as well as using a capful of Super Thrive solution in a gallon of water. So that's really my nutrient solution mix, but you'll see that I'm just going to go ahead and take the time to clean up these plants. I mean, I just think these aglaonema are absolutely stunning. Let me know in the comment section, again, Plant Foldies, what you think of my unboxing and what you think about my process in acclimating plants that you receive from overseas. Now, plant foldies watching this video, you'll notice now that I have all of the Aglaonema cleaned up. The roots are rinsed. The actual foliage has some neem oil spray solution to protect it from any potential pests or fungus. Now I am just filling up these glass jars with some nutrient solution. Again, I just mixed up a nutrient solution where I took a gallon of water and put 1 tablespoon of silica protect solution with Super Thrive. You can buy that on Amazon as well. And then just a cap full of Super Thrive nutrient solution. It's a B vitamin. And for me, I just think it's super important that these plants get rehydrated. Whenever you're receiving any type of plant from overseas where they are shipped bare rooted, you don't want to just plant these in a soil substrate immediately or whatever substrate, because number one, the plant is going through a lot of stress and you have to de-stress it. I feel like rehydrating them with some nutrient water is definitely going to help out. And you'll notice that I'm doing these in sections. I'm just so excited to show you how beautiful these Aglaonema are. I am just curious if this is going to be helpful for anybody that actually is thinking about getting Aglaonema or even plants from overseas. I cannot tell you how much I want to just continue to promote Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. Again, please say hello to my friend Ricky. He has an amazing nursery out in Indonesia. He is often seen at plant cons. So if you are going to be going to any of the plant cons this year or any of these plant shows, definitely say hello to Ricky. Let him know that Richie and the Plant Foldies say hi. And if you have any questions about some of the plants that he will get you, you can clearly send a direct message on Instagram, or you can even send me a message. But I am thinking of certain super plant foldies and plant foldies that really collect Aglaonema. I would suggest trying this out. It's not a perfect process, but at the end of the day, at least you're getting more personalized, detailed content on what to do with plants that you receive from overseas. I've seen a lot of YouTubers actually promote, say, Greenspaces.ID, but not nearly as detailed. So hopefully, even though this video has been a little bit long playing, I just wanted to make sure that I covered all the details. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comment section. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And definitely follow Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. Ricky is amazing. And look at these Aglaonema. That's the thing about finding a really good seller online, especially from overseas. It's really tough to do that. You really have to vet it out. And that's really one of my number one advice for anybody that is thinking about getting plants from overseas. Make sure that they are able to provide photos, and not just photos, videos of the plant. So every single Aglaonema that I received, actually I saw the videos and live plant before it was ever sent out. And that really gave me a lot of confidence. So obviously I'm going to continue to just keep shopping through Art Garden Flowers. I'm going to still look for some more Aglaonema sellers from overseas and just connect them with Ricky, so I'll be able to continue to grow my Aglaonema collection. But you can see right here, these are just absolutely stunning. And I already know most people would not be able to get these plants for a really good price, at least in the United States. These would be extremely expensive. But when you actually get them from overseas, you get some of the really more cost-effective plant pricing. So I'm just filling up these jars again with nutrient solution. I would say at least let them sit in for at least 24 to 48 hours. I'm probably going to let my Aglaonema sit there for about 72 hours. I do need to source out some more classy rabbit soil, and I'm going to pot up these plants in a terracotta planter. So stay tuned for a part 2 of this video of me just potting up these plants. I figured relaxing plant chores videos are also a new thing for my my channel, and hopefully you guys find this relaxing. and here are the beautiful Aglaonema that I received. This one is an Aglaonema White Legacy. I mean, look at the white stems, the beautiful veining of the leaves, and then the next one would be the Aglaonema Red Legacy, and this one is also a beautiful plant. There's 4 of them that I could possibly separate eventually, and then the next Aglaonema I receive is an Aglaonema Pink Lady, which I've actually got 2 already, but you know, I don't mind having doubles of any type of Aglaonema. They're amazing. And then Aglaonema Snow White, hoping that this will actually grow into a beautiful specimen, because look at that white coloration. And then we've got an Aglaonema di Giovannia, beautiful plant as well. It's a unique green Aglaonema, and you know, as far as the shape of the leaves, it's a really nice shape as well. It's a little bit rounder and more wide. And then we have this one right here. This is an Aglaonema Red Hot Lady, which actually has potential to get really large leaves as well. And then Aglaonema Sundrop. So Aglaonema Sundrop, it's just such a beautiful neon colored plant. There's many varieties of these types of Aglaonema that I will eventually source. And Aglaonema Frozen, sometimes it's also called Aglaonema Lucky, or maybe they're 2 different Aglaonemas. Beautiful plant. The seller is just awesome to get me that one. And then this is an Aglaonema Moonlight, and this one's slightly leggy, but I am going to be okay with that because I'm going to pot this up further down into the pot so it's not as leggy. It's a beautiful large round form Aglaonema. And then we have Aglaonema Coconut Delight. This one is stunning as well. If you look at just the nuances of the leaves, there's so much coloration going on with this Aglaonema. And for me, everybody loves anthuriums, but I wish more people would get into Aglaonema, because look at this. These are stunning plants. These are plants that need to have a bigger following because of just the beauty of it. This one is an Aglaonema Dewy Hues. Love that leaf shape. And then my wish list Aglaonema come true, Aglaonema Golden Hope. This is a Greg Humbali hybrid, which makes it a little bit more expensive. I got it in a little bowl, and there's 2 little babies that I can propagate eventually. I'm just gonna let it acclimate for a little bit. Hopefully all of my Aglaonema will just become healthy, beautiful plants. So again, you know, my advice again is to just make sure that you are finding a reputable seller overseas. Make sure that you are in constant communication with the seller. Make sure that they are following all of the protocols in terms of just the USDA or just, you know, countries' regulations in getting plants brought in from another country. And just make sure that you just stay in constant communication. That's really my number one thing in terms of just receiving plants. And then also the acclimation process. It is a slow one. Sometimes you will see the plant decline, and sometimes you have to really wait for them to recover. But once they do, they're going to do amazing. But for me, I've gotten such a good plant haul today through Art Garden Flowers. Riki, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for you to be able to get my seller to be able to send these plants from your nursery to the United States. It just further just brings me so much joy to show this type of content to my plant foldies, because Aglaonema needs to be a trending plant, and I just wish these would be a little bit more readily available. I think if there's more interest, more nurseries will actually get these plants from overseas. But for now, I would just say follow Art Garden Flowers on Instagram for sure if you want to buy Aglaonema. Riki can source out some amazing ones. He can send you some photos and give you some pricing. And again, the process was fairly fast in terms of when the plants were shipped. The longest delay would just be the phytosanitary or just all of the prep in order to get these plants to go to the United States. But otherwise, as far as the plants, I mean, would you agree that these plants are super healthy? I would say so, considering these plants traveled several thousands of miles from Indonesia to North Dallas. So super excited about that. Let me know in the comment section what you think of these Aglaonema. Just know that I will still be getting more Aglaonema. I actually have another package coming from Greenspaces.ID mid-May. And then obviously all of the other Aglaonema that I will be getting and buying from Riki at PlantCon Houston. So let me know in the comment section again what your thoughts are. Just know that I really enjoyed today's video in terms of just sharing my experience with getting these Aglaonema. I mean, they're just super colorful plants. Again, they are drought tolerant. They are a little bit more low light tolerant, but for these types of Aglaonemas, you want to give them the best lighting conditions. And I just wanted to show you each and every single one in detail. Let me know what your favorites are, and I'm just gonna keep panning over here and showing you the rest of the Aglaonema. I would say my two favorite Aglaonema would be the Aglaonema Coconut Delight as well as this Aglaonema Golden Hope. I can't believe I finally got this Aglaonema Golden Hope for such a good price, and I am just so excited to see this Aglaonema grow. Hopefully it doesn't get leggy, hopefully it doesn't lose too many leaves as it acclimates. But again, plant foldies, now that they're sitting in just that nutrient solution water, I'm gonna let them sit in that for about 72 hours, and I will document what I do in terms of potting up the plants, and hopefully I'll get you guys updates. I think the updates are gonna be placed in my Super Plant Foldy or YouTube membership tier for you guys to see that. But again, getting plants from overseas can be a little bit risky, but if you have an amazing person like Ricky of Art Garden Flowers, please follow him on Instagram at artgarden.flowers. Please say hello to me for all of these plants. And if you're willing to buy some plants from him, just send him a direct message. This is Richie at Growfolds. I truly appreciated sharing my experience with you today. Hopefully you will press the subscribe button and turn on all the notifications. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.